Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9, 1230 MWTBC. It is the Martin Houston Show, the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling. I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, and it's open for business. You can also join us on the live stream at Martin Houston 35 fan page, Martin Houston 35 fan page. We invite you to join the conversation there. We do have a great show lined up for you, but we'll see how that all plays out as we open up the mic and the phone line. Conversations may have opportunity to go in several different directions. As we cover the latest in Alabama sports. Normally Thursday is set aside for some roster management / recruiting talk. And we did have some of that this week, so we'll talk about it. But also a topic that I had planned for today was just to talk about a clip from 1984. When the great Eddie Robinson, legendary coach Eddie Robinson of Grambling, had talked about the condition of college football, and the tail would soon begin to wag the dog when he was talking about TV getting involved in the game of football. And we know if you go back and listen to that clip, it's up on my Facebook page. Once again, Martin Houston at Martin Houston 35 fan page. It's amazing. It's almost scary how much he predicted the condition of college athletics and what would happen as a result of TV. But anyway, due to some news that happened yesterday, we will definitely bring that into the conversation. And there's a lot of different angles that we could take on the Eli Gold story. But we're going to choose to take the thank you, and we're going to choose to say thank you and celebrate Eli Gold on this program. Unfortunately, things, all good things may come to an end. Only one I don't know for sure that I can say don't come to an end is my faith walk. The end here is the beginning of it getting better. So the old Coke commercial X, I always tell people as a Christian, it don't get no worse than this. This is as bad as it'll ever be. So only thing I can guarantee you, the good thing that doesn't come to an end. But before I bring on any callers or anything, Eli Gold and I kind of had a personal, I guess, journey together. Eli, I remember, did the basketball at 88, 89, my freshman year, but it was my redshirt freshman year. And to this day, I can remember one of my first trips. And this probably tells as much as anything about kind of my recruiting journey. I didn't even know who John Forney was. I mean, I'm not being ugly. I didn't watch a lot of Alabama football before I
So
stepped
you
foot
think
on
you know Wicks? Do you?
what was that? And
My
so
bad there, Mart.
uh, I didn't know if that was, but I personally I got to travel Tennessee to see Tennessee and Alabama play as a freshman. I almost lost my red shirt. Back then, if you played at all, you would lose your red shirt. Kevin Turner had been hurt. I prepped that week to be in the rotation. So I traveled to the Tennessee game in '88, and I can remember seeing John Forney on the on the tarmac as we were loading up, and then I saw Eli, a young Eli, 36 years ago, walking behind him, and I'm like, "Who are those guys?" So that tells you, it tells you X how much I follow. Could you imagine a player not knowing who Eli Gold was today? That
Right.
would be That'd be crazy. And then, of course, my first year to actually play was Eli's first year to call football in '89 in that SEC championship game. So, and I'm going to see if I can find maybe a clip, one of his uh, more famous clips from that first year. See if I can find one. But either way, X,
Oh, it's got to be the Penn State block, right?
yeah, probably so. And I have to tell a little story about that here in a moment. So let's go ahead. The phone lines are open 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. You can also add your thoughts and comments on chat. So, and we'll work those in. Of course, last night I forgot to mention, but crazy, crazy, great win for Alabama in the basketball arena last night. Pat, you're in with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind, sir?
Uh, First off, undoubtedly Grant Nelson took a basketball pill last night. First 5 minutes or so of the ball game, he had 7 points and a block shot.
Well, I told you he was coming along, Pat.
Yeah, that. My next question is, what in the double hockey sticks is Greg Burns got on his mind? He does a decent job, and I think in hiring a coach to replace Coach Saban, but not allowing Eli Gold to go out on his own accord is ludicrous. I've had numerous A-club buddies of mine call me and say, what in the world is Greg Burns thinking? How do you let somebody work that long and treat him like crap? I don't care what I guarantee you. Yeah, and the only reason Ryan Fowler's show, and yours won't have anybody say anything bad about Eli either. And I promise you this, that Ryan Fowler's show would have 100% people wanting to have Eli Gold's voice on the radio.
Yeah, and
100%.
I don't know what happened. I know that there was negotiation. Okay, a contract is coming up, and I think the unfortunate timing of Alabama is they're going to lose two goats at one time, in terms of Saban and Eli. But with a contract coming up, negotiations happen. And I don't know what happened in those negotiations. Greg Burns, as you said, has done an unbelievable job in everything he's done. But Eli didn't share what was offered. I'm sitting here, and like I said, I know nothing, by the way. But um, you know, first of all, the timing of his contract coming up. a year after him being sick and Chris doing a lot of duties and Saban retiring, I think expedited this decision. That's number one. Number two, Pat, is I just wonder, was there some type of transition condition that was offered? Because he said they offered some things and he didn't want to do it. But sometimes it's just you just have to make, and it's tough. I'll never forget one of my bosses said to me, um, uh, did they offer him a farewell tour? I don't know. But he said, Martin, he said, I want someone who is compassionate, that has to stay up at night when they have to let someone go, that they struggle with the decision, that is hard for them to do, that they're not happy about it, that they struggle. But when they wake up the next morning, that they make the decision that has to be made. And that's what we have in Greg Burns. I think Greg Burns does a great job. So I'm not ready to throw Greg Burns under the bus completely because I don't know the condition of it. That's why I said we're going to celebrate who Eli was and what he did. I think we can make this much worse as fans and people when we start taking names and taking shots and things like that, Pat. So I would say be careful until it's all said and done of what they. Because if he had said what they offered, then we could easily say, "Ooh, that was shady." But I don't know that we are at a point where we can say that. Maybe you are. Maybe you know more than I do. So.
Well, like I said, I like Chris Stewart, but I love Eli, and there's a difference there. And that I guarantee you, like I said, there's many, because of the sampling I got at the basketball game last night, everybody's been out of shape with Greg Burns. Everybody.
I would say everybody. I would expect them to be, but it would not matter if Eli had retired on his own. Nick Saban wasn't fired, but we were all bent out of shape. So I wouldn't expect any different from. I personally think and I know Chris and all of that, but you know, did the university do due diligence in replacing Eli Gold? That would be my question. I would be more. I'd be more concerned with whether or not Alabama should have just gave this to Chris or went out and searched for the next gold voice in radio broadcasting. I'd be more concerned with that. Not knocking Chris. Chris and I work together here and all of that. I'm just saying when we lost the GOAT in football, we went out and looked. Right?
Yeah.
Did we do that? And we may have done that. We may have done that. I have no idea because Eli said this has been going for a while. So we got to get the break here, Pat. But anything else you want to say before I let you go, man?
Just that Nate Oates, that was an absolutely fabulous job of coaching that he did last night. That was a very good basketball team that Alabama beat. And that little number one for Florida, wow, what a basketball player.
Yep.
Anyway, have a blessed day. Hopefully we can keep it going.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it. Coming back on the other side, we'll get some Eli Gold calls and sprinkle them in throughout the show. X, I'll let you respond to what Pat said on the other side. Justin, y'all may have different thoughts, different angles. So we'll work all of that into the conversation. I want to remind you, go check out Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Billy's Cooking Restaurant. I did not realize this till yesterday as I went by and got some awesome wings, lemon pepper and the mild. They do use DoorDash. They deliver via DoorDash. So if you can't get there, you can call and use DoorDash, or you can call them and place a takeout order, 205-632-8617. That's Billy's Cooking Restaurant. You can find them on Facebook at Billy's Cooking LLC.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It's off to a very quiet start all around T-Town early on this Thursday morning drive, which are always the words you want to hear. If you're traveling 2059 from Foster's to Cottondale, McFarland Boulevard from Coker, passing Lurling Wallace down to U of A and I-20 beyond, you're quiet there as well. And the trip coming up on 69 from Hale County, you're moving at posted speeds with no big problems for the moment. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy? Totalmente. And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan at an amazing price with no contracts. Should you switch to Total by Verizon? Definitely. Totalmente. Find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Monthly rate when you activate with AutoPay plus taxes and fees. Discount begins the month after you enroll. Additional terms apply. See website for data management practices.
Hi, I'm Marty Lyons. When I come to Taco Casa, I always order the 2 and 2. 2 Sanchos, 2 enchiladas.
And I'm Wilkin Forby. And when I come to Taco Casa, I always order the Fantastic Four. 4 Sanchos, 4 enchiladas, 4 tacos, and 4 burritos.
Taco Casa is always made with the finest ingredients and made fresh when you order. So whatever the size of your appetite,
there's always something delicious waiting for you here at Taco Casa.
Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Increasingly cloudy today, the chance of a few scattered showers this afternoon. Very mild, the high 71. Tonight, a good chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm in spots, the low 52. Tomorrow, a clearing sky with a high at 67. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 51 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Wow, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. I got to go ahead and just see if I can, let me see if I can work this up here. Just to make sure that this is doing its thing. Man, what a guy Eli Gold was. I mean, the things he did, the calls he made, were amazing. And let's see. Here may be one of the first more iconic plays, and then I'll talk a little bit about this X and then get your response. Hold on. Make sure I got the volume up enough so that you can hear it all.
This football will be snapped from the half-yard line.
All right, Eli, we got to block it.
Got to block this one.
If you ever blocked one, you got to block this one.
This will be a 17-yard field goal attempt. In is Ray Tarasi, the senior from Pittsburgh. 13 seconds to go. The snap is good. The spot is good. Unbelievable! Alabama has blocked the field goal. Alabama has blocked the field goal. The Crimson Tide blocked the field goal. Holy cow, Bama wins it 17-16 on a blocked field goal with 8 seconds remaining.
I think the next great.
The great thing about that particular block, X Justin, is as we were coming down, that was against Penn State, 1989. We had played that game, just to give it some color to that day. X, we had played that game, and in the first half, man, we could not stand up as a team. We had slipped all over the field. So at halftime, we all changed our cleats. Penn State was notorious. There's another school down a little south of us and east of us that wets their grass as well. And if you're not careful, they'll get you on the slips. But at the end of the first half, a neat story before we get back to that block was that we had the ball almost in the same position that they had the ball, right? Um, and we went for it. And I remember this as plain. They called timeout and I was on the big screen and Coach Curry was telling me I better score. And a guy named Andre Collins, I'm sorry, I wasn't on the big screen. They showed me talking to Coach Curry. Then they went to Paterno and he said, tackle number 35. And that's all Collins did. And I didn't lose a yard, but I got stalemated. And I always tell people, hey, listen, the only reason we won that game is because I didn't score. Because if we had scored, Penn State would have went for a touchdown right there. And that was the craziest call, I think, because of that play that happened in the ghost of Coach Bryant and in the goal line stand X from the championship season when Alabama stopped Penn State at the goal line. I think was a ghost that Bryant actually did help win that game. I think the ghost of Bear Bryant and Penn State not going for it at the half-inch line probably had a lot to do with you understand, you line up 17 yards from the ball on a field goal, 7 yards from the ball. The end zone is 10. The ball was literally sitting on the goal line. I mean, it was inches, if an inch, more than an inch from the goal line. And the only reason he didn't score was Bear Thomas tripped and fell. We didn't tackle him. So it was just crazy that they went for it. But what a call. What are your thoughts really quick on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard you tell that story many times over the years, and it's a crazy story. But hearing Eli Gold's voice through that, for me, one of the most iconic calls that I can remember, and hopefully we can get it, is the 2009 National Championship game, where he says the excuse me, the roses are colored crimson once again, and that was the start of the dynasty, and one of the best calls I've ever heard from Eli Gold.
Yeah, I think we can probably make that happen. Yeah, that was it. You have anything you want to say in terms of just the situation with Eli?
I don't know what happened. Nobody really knows. It's going to be a change because he said he's been calling games at Alabama since you arrived. That was 3 years before I was born. So that's really, outside of the 1 year where he was sick, that's the only voice I know. That's the voice of my childhood. And it's weird, getting into your 30s now. For me, it's those voices, those faces, those names are stepping aside for the next generation to grow. Because I remember Keith Jackson retiring at a young age, and now Eli Gold is no longer Alabama's voice. So it's an interesting thing to experience.
Yeah, Justin, you have any thoughts you want to add?
Similar to X, I'm not sure of the details. I need to go back and listen to his interview with Ryan Fowler that he did yesterday. I mean, I'll always have a great appreciation for Eli, especially being somebody who was an Alabama fan and grew up out of the state, and also being in a family that was full of Gary Danielson I won't say hate,
Mm.
but dislikers. So we always prefer to tune into Eli, like through the computer and through online and stuff like that.
So your family didn't have a fun experience with Gary Daniels?
I wouldn't say fun. I wouldn't say fun. I'd say lots of yelling at the TV and muting and turning the
And where were
volume
you
down.
from? Where are you from again?
My family's from Greensboro, but a military family, so we moved
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. That's kind of the thought is, and Eli talks about that with Ryan of how the radio hosts they just ingrained themselves into the culture of the team because it's the same voice, uh, the same. If they're good, then you fall in love with them. And not trying to be funny. Chris Stewart may have a harder uphill battle than Kalen DeBoer because the reality of it is it's all on Chris now, and I mean Eli's one of the best to ever do it, no matter what sport it is. Eli, it's called NASCAR, and I mean, and just those iconic calls X and that you refer to. Let me see if I'm able to get that call that you talked about just a second ago and see Eli, because to me that first call was one, and then he had that the Penn State for me is special because I was on that team, but this is the moment as a fan that sits high above the others.
Crimson.
26 seconds to go. Bama's going to take a knee at the 30-yard line. The victory formation. And that is going to do it. 20 seconds remaining. 19, 18, 15 seconds remaining. Alabama wins its 13th national championship. And the roses in this grand old stadium are once again crimson.
I think the second most impactful call was probably
that was special. I mean, it was really, really special. So, I'm always amazed at being a quote unquote. People say, Martin, you're a wordsmith. I'm always impressed that like I don't know if Ryan asked him. I would like to ask Eli. Eli, did you have some things you already written out? Like if Alabama wins, I'm going to say this, or this, or would sometimes those just come spur of the moment or a combination thereof. So, but before we get to break here, let's circle back with Chuck Hunt. Chuck Hunt, make sure your patience you're on and you want to talk about Eli.
Yes, I was calling. First, Brother Houston, I seen you had posted about Coach Rob's 1984 when he spoke to Congress, and it was kind of an effect. You talking about 1984? I think about the book from the 1950s, George Orwell, what he was talking about predicting the future, and think about it. It's something to think about. Big Brother's watching you. And look at where we are now with technology, and seeing that's what Coach Eddie Robinson was doing, and what Coach Nick Saban was doing. They were predicting what was going to happen. Look at where we are now with transfer portal and NIL, and also with Eli Gold. Yeah, he's one of those voices. He's now on the list of greats, such as the guy from the school that you all don't care for, John Ward, Tennessee, and think about the other ones you don't like, Jim Fife and Rod Bramlett at Auburn. Think about Jim Hawthorne at LSU, and many others. Larry Munson at the University of Georgia. He's on that list of all those great voices.
Yeah, and that's the thing is everybody day comes at some point when it comes to retirement. Every great player, every great coach, and every great announcer season comes to an end at some point. And
that's true.
It's going to be tough unless they do it the way Saban did. unless they go out on their own. And we don't know that if they didn't, there's going to be a change. And to me, do you roll with the change? Everybody, I had someone post on mine is, when Eli Gold was coming in, there was a lot of folks that were upset that Forney was out. I mean, you know what I mean? Like all the people defending Eli today, Justin and X, were upset that Forney was not coming back. And so give Chris a shot. And I'm gonna say this: Jason Rutledge said, "What people have to understand, AD Greg Burns is a hot commodity, and he's doing what's best for Bama. Be careful what you say and do. I prefer to contain AD Greg versus Eli. Love Eli, but." And that's, he felt like he had to make that choice. And like I said, I don't know what the conditions were, Chuck, but there were some conditions that he said were offered. And he said over time, I'm paraphrasing, but over time, those conditions began to shrink to the point, and then, he was offered A-Day, but he's not going to call A-Day either, which will still be under his contract because his contract expires in June. So, don't know. Just want to celebrate him. Thanks, Chuck.
All right, you all take care.
Thanks.
All right.
Coming back on the other side, X, Philip wants to talk basketball, so we'll talk basketball. Like I said, this is normally we do some. We'll probably end up X putting roster management and recruiting on tomorrow. When a story like this breaks, you sort of in the same vein, not same level, but same vein. When Saban retired, you got to kind of honor the guy that's been the GOAT. And Eli Gold, truly the GOAT of Alabama Alabama football, the voice of Alabama football. That golden voice of Eli Gold will not be returning to the sideline for 2024. And we'll rebound and keep going. We'll be back on the other side to keep the conversation rolling.
Barry Buckner here for Tuscaloosa Hyundai, and first up, a flashback. In 2021, I was both excited and amazed with the award-winning Elantra redesign. Today, the 2023 Elantra remodel is recognized for the best value balance of price and features. I'm talking about both Elantra and Elantra Hybrid. KBB.com recognizes Elantra is the lowest 5-year cost to own in its class. Elantra wins awards for innovative technology and 5-star safety rating. Elantra delivers up to 42 miles per gallon for gas and up to 56 miles per gallon for Elantra Hybrid. If you're thinking about Civic, Corolla, or Sentra, accept this invitation to compare the 2023 Elantra at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. With no add-on side stickers, your cost to own is low from the get-go. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
Okay, 3 more climbers, 7 loggers.
Ted's sustainably sourced logging company is growing a new branch.
What about truck driver contracts?
Which means a new HR manager will be the first hire to fall.
Then we'll need to staff up the warehouse.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a Samsung Galaxy A14 included when you buy an extended Silver Unlimited plan. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah!
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. Online only. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
The The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama wins. Alabama wins.
The fans are cheering with that feel stomach that's hard to explain. Morgan Cox will snap it. Bram Cannon will hold. Daniel Lincoln from 45 yards out to win it for the Volunteers. The snap, the spot. The kick is blocked! It is blocked by Alabama! It is blocked by Alabama! The Crimson Tide wins! The Crimson Tide wins! The Crimson Tide wins! Terrence Cody, for the second time, I believe, got a piece of that one. The Crimson Tide wins, and Bama remains undefeated.
Wow. What do you remember about that play, X? What do you remember about that? I mean, there was a couple of controversial things that happened in that play that everybody tried to say we were.
Oh man, that I remember being over at your mom's house, and I was 18, and we were all watching it in y'all's bedroom, and I was standing parallel to the TV, so the TV's sitting where I'm looking at the side of the TV, and I couldn't even watch it. And when it gets blocked, I sprint through the house. Granted, I really wish I could have heard Eli call it live, but I just remember sprinting through the house like, woo, we won, like super excited. It really felt like the monkey was off of our back against Tennessee. We'd beaten them a couple times in a row, but that, once again, a great call during another national championship season.
Yeah, neat for me is I think about how much that changed college football. I mean, think about if we don't block that kick, what's the trajectory of college football? Does that lead to us not getting and staying at that that level, and there being a greater gap of what happened? Does Lane Kiffin become the darling of Tennessee and not head back to USC? I mean, there's just so many potential things, and if that happens and that doesn't happen, do we have a Lane Kiffin come back who helps transform Alabama's offense into the juggernaut it's become? That Saban went from being a defensive-led team, which he was always a defensive coach, but his team became known as an offensive juggernaut. Did it all turn on that one play? It's always possible. Virgil Williamson said, I don't have any idea what happened, and I love hearing Eli Gold call Bama games, but over history, I have heard that he has some issues that makes this not as suspect as some are making it out to be. Uh-oh. All right, Virgil. Like you said, we don't know what was offered, and it could have been more on an ego than anything else. Just a thought from a Joe Blow fan. Well, some people don't hear all the behind the scenes, and I'm not knocking one way or the other. I'm just telling you there's more to the story possibly than what you've heard, because one side is talking and the other side isn't. So, who knows? I think C.J. Watson makes a good point. Eli was outstanding, and this is his opinion. And I'll listen to Chris fill in for Eli, and Chris is outstanding. I can't imagine anyone else stepping in regardless of how the Eli era ends. And like I said, to each his own. I think he has more of an uphill battle than anything. Real quick, circle back on that play. Virgil Williams brought up one of the points I was going to bring out. Terrence Cody took off his helmet after the play on the field and could have been penalized. Actually, because he blocked the kick, because that was the controversy about that play. Tennessee tried to argue that play. The moment he blocked the kick, it was no longer Tennessee's ball. And he could have been penalized, but it would have been a penalty on Alabama's offense because it was a change of possession. Once the ball was blocked, that play was dead, and Alabama now had possession. So if they had penalized if they had called a penalty on that play, it would have been marked off against Alabama's offense, not for Tennessee. So Virgil was absolutely correct. It could have been a penalty, but it would not have been against for Tennessee. So Philip's been patiently waiting to talk some basketball. Philip, you're on with Martin and Xavier. I hate that last night happened on the same time as the Eli goal because I personally was at church, so I did not get to see the game live, but went back and looked at some things and did some reading up and things on it. Unbelievable game, unbelievable win against a really, really hot Florida team. I think that it was 7 out of 8 wins, 9 out of 11, some crazy number. They were on a hot streak. Alabama had to battle back. Philip, big time win for Alabama.
Martin, when Alabama was down 72-62 with a little over 8 minutes left in the game, it looked bleak to me at that point. And then they turned around and I think they scored 17 points and held Florida to 5, and and that got them back in the game. But then, when they waved off the Estrada layup late in the game, I was sort of worried then too because there was a little over 2 minutes left and they took the 2 points away, and Florida had a 2-point lead and the ball. So a lot happened there in the last few minutes of the game to give Alabama a shot. But overcoming that 10-point deficit fairly late in the game was huge. I mean, it was tremendous, and to do that without Wrightsell and I don't think Stevenson score a point last night. I don't think he did.
I don't remember. I hadn't looked at it that deep. As I said, I missed the actual live game. Had to go back and look at a couple things.
Right.
But
now Eli had a great run, Martin. I mean, he had a great run, and I appreciate that great run that he had. And I think I know Chris Stewart's going to do a good job, but it's not like Chris is 28 years old. It's not like he's a young. He is young, but it's not like he's 26, 27 hot shot. I'm glad for Chris to have this opportunity.
Yeah, he has been in the program. He took over. The question becomes, Chris right now is the voice of basketball, football, moving forward, and baseball. So will Alabama, be grooming their next, Chris Stewart, I guess, as he is now the voice for all three of the major sports. So we'll see what happens with that. But when you fall in love with the voice, Eli had a face, but it was a voice that everybody fell in love with because he could take you inside the game. You felt like you were there. You did not feel like if you didn't have the television, you felt like you could listen to Eli Gold no matter what the game situation was and feel like you were there. And that's the challenge. It's not just the iconic calls, it's the play by play. Here's the question too. That guy that sits next to him needs to be really good too. The color guy needs to be able to carry the load so that guy can focus on keeping you engaged. So that's going to be huge as Alabama moves forward as well. And I think Chris, because Chris was a guy who could carry a game himself, he was a huge, huge part of being able to do that for Eli. So,
right. Hey, Martin, I'd like to mention one thing to you before I hang up. I've been meaning to do it for a while, but your caller, Chuck, is outstanding. I could listen to that guy.
You talking about the historian?
I could listen to him all.
He's a historian.
Oh, he is amazing, and I could listen to him all day. So I don't know who you are, Chuck, but I love your call.
Hey, listen, he's from Louisiana, and I don't even think he's necessarily a Bama fan. He just started listening to the show, and he's been a faithful listener. And I can promise you, if I ever go into the archive on trying to remember something, a lot of times, Philip, Chuck sends me a message in the chat, and I'm able to go back and reiterate what I said, or he'll correct me if I'm wrong. He is a historian.
Just let him know he's got a fan out there. I love it. I think it's just fantastic. And here's another tidbit. Dale McGee is in the running to get the Georgia State head coaching job.
Do what now?
Dale McGee, the University of Georgia running backs coach, is possibly the leading candidate to get the Georgia State head coaching job.
Interesting. Kirby's having a little turnover.
I just heard that on the Georgia Network News.
Oh, wow. He just lost his wide receiver coach.
Yeah, I wanted to throw that out there to you because you got your daughter's over there, and I thought that'd be of interest to you.
Yes, sir. That's interesting there. We'll keep our eyes on it. If we get anything additional, we'll bring it. Thanks, because anything happening at Georgia definitely impacts Alabama. One of the top receivers, thanks for great insight. Just quick recruiting note. Top receiver for 2025 has now said that Bama just needs to be Bama to get back into the race with Georgia because Georgia lost their wide receiver coach. Is it Travis or Tavis Smith?
Travis Smith Jr.
Travis Smith. I couldn't remember if it was a TR or TA, but I knew it was Smith Jr. So, and Alabama's now back in that list just because the coach left. So Kirby's getting a little bit of that. You raise them up and they leave. They go out and spread their wings. Coming back on the other side, man, we'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the program. Maybe one or two more Eli Gold calls. Also, we'll talk a little bit about basketball. Big game last night, big win. And then, of course, Alabama even getting a little help in separation from Kentucky, which makes this Tennessee game that's coming up even that much more important. If Alabama is able to keep the winning ways going, the tide will rise to the top of the SEC in basketball once again.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Our drive times are close to delay-free all around the region at this early stage. That includes Highway 69 between 15th Street and Middle Area Road. You're looking at about 10 minutes both directions there. Along 2059 between Skyline and I-359, 8-minute drive time both directions through that stretch, and no major accident spots brewing for the moment. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning, the full Alabama House will take up a bill passed by committee that requires a child to exhibit readiness for first grade. Although kindergarten is not required in Alabama, children entering the first grade would be required to pass a test proving their competency. The test would be designed by the State Department of Education. Similar legislation has failed in the legislature the last 2 years. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Townsend Nissan is your #1 dealer, and they'll beat any written offer or pay you $1,000. Keeping you #1 keeps Townsend Nissan #1. See dealer for details. We've all felt the impact of rising food prices. For families in poverty, they're facing malnutrition and even death. You can feed a family for a month with your $50 donation to Compassion International. Just text the word radio to 97646.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better. And she's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy, she sleeps well, she's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Everybody loves Taco Casa. Everything we do in our store, we prepare in our store. We hand cut all of our tomatoes. We block and shred our own cheese here in the store. So we still hand cut our chips, our sopapillas, our taco shells, our chimalupa bowls. Our chili takes about 4 to 6 hours to make every single day. The goal in that is to provide the freshest, best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
In the middle of the play, make the man miss. And indeed, TJ Yeldon did just that.
AJ gets the snap, pressure, screen, Yeldon, 30, 25.
Make a man miss.
That's right, he's gonna go! He's gonna go! Touchdown, TJ Yeldon. TJ Yeldon on a screen, 28 yards. No flags. Alabama, in what could be one of the epic comebacks in Crimson Tide history, takes a 20-17 lead with the extra point to come. 51 seconds remaining in the ball game.
Call number
X, that's one of those plays I think that we sometimes forget. But like that play still brought chills because that was part of an unbelievable drive. Norwood made some great catches. AJ, I think, became legendary on that drive. And, of course, Yeldon, to me, is probably the most underrated or least talked about stud of the Alabama, running back game. I think you could put Yeldon on the Najee Harris team, and he would have equal numbers because he was a great receiver, hard runner. I mean, I think he just sometimes get lost in the great running backs of Alabama. So that call, that's why I wanted to play that call.
He was 21 yards. TJ was 21 yards shy of being the only one running back in Alabama history to have 3 1,000-yard seasons. 21 yards.
I did not realize that. I mean, that's what I'm saying is he's like, I think maybe the most underrated of the greats that played for Nick Saban at that position. But that call, that play, that drive, it was so much on that one drive that you could talk about. So I wanted to highlight that. We may do a few more Eli Gold play calls on tomorrow, but hit those. Go ahead, Ed.
Craziest part about that call is the picture from behind where he's got his arms up once he's crossed the goal line. I've got 2 friends sitting dead center in front of him, absolutely losing their mind with all the Alabama fans. Great picture as well with that great moment and call from Eli.
Yeah, and the part, Justin, I get you. Justin, you know what that play was called? A screen. Oh, what's that? Just saying. Something that
what's that? I've not seen that before.
I know the young fans that were watching the live stream, they may not know what that is, so I just wanted to let them know. That's called a screen. When a team is rushing you and they know you're going to pass the ball or you can't pass the ball, you can't pass block, you run that play right there. You run a screen. So just, I'm sure Coach DeBoer has that taken care of, but anyway, I'm just having fun. Oh, man, just from the basketball game yesterday, X, I made the statement that what I love about this team is that if Mark Sears happens to be off, and his off game was 17, that they have a bunch of dogs who can get 20 plus. And last night we saw that happen with Grant Nelson, to me, having his best game statistically for sure, but impacting the game. 22 points, 8 rebounds, and a career high six block shots. 6 players in double figures, including Estrada of Sears 17, Walters 14, Pringle, who I said I think is the key, 13, Griffin 10. But a young freshman may have sparked a whole comeback last night as Walters, when Alabama was trailing, hit back-to-back threes, and that sparked a 15-4 run. So that's what I love about this team. That's why when I told you, I think they may have had more star power last year, but I don't think they're as good a team as this team. I think this team is getting better and better and better. I cannot say that about last year's team at this point.
And you look at the fact not only did Sears have a quote-unquote off game, but you don't have Right Sale playing last night, but all the other guys stepping up in Nelson and Estrada, as you said, Walters with a huge game. He also had 2 blocks to go along with it. Just great overall team performance last night. It's basically coming back from being down 10 so late in the game.
Yeah, what a game. We'll talk more about that if you like on tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow for a free-for-all Flashback Friday, where we're talking all things Alabama. What a crazy week in sports at Alabama. It's hard to believe, but what a crazy week. But we have just about made it through, and we'll be back tomorrow to keep it going. And once again, hey, we want to celebrate and thank Eli Gold. And so to do that, we'll just play a few of his calls as we get out of here. I want to remind you that you can trust in the Lord, lean not in your own understanding, and all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. For Martin Houston, Xavier Houston, Justin Jones, and Tide 100.9 at 12:30 a.m. And we say thank you for being a part of the program, and roll Tide out there, everybody.
Despite what the calendar says, for Crimson Tide fans, Mardi Gras, the season of celebration, is officially underway. Bama, the national champions of college football. Daniel Lincoln from 45 yards out to win it for the Volunteers. The snap.
Thank you.
It's blocked by Alabama. It is blocked by Alabama. The Crimson Tide wins. The Crimson Tide wins. Trent Richardson behind the quarterback. McElroy looks right, throws the screen left. Julio left side. He's behind the defense. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, 73 yards. Touchdown! Handoff. Henry up the middle. He breaks free. He's going to go on a 4th and inches. Touchdown, Alabama. Derrick Henry up the plate. 37 yards for the good guy. Foster in motion. Here's the inside give. Derrick Henry, he's in the secondary. 30. Nobody's going to